At an altitude exceeding 2,600 meters, Gulmarg, one of the most popular ski destinations in Asia, looks completely deserted in the middle of January. With almost no snowfall, the region recorded its driest and hottest January in nearly 5 decades. On the slopes, scattered white patches of snow make the landscape look like it's spring. While a few are making the best of the situation, most tourists are disappointed.
We are planning for our honeymoon trip, so we decided this place Gulmarg because it's very snowy and it looks like kind of heaven. There's no snowfall. We were so disappointed. We cannot do activity. We don't have that excitement right now after coming to this place. So we will see what we can do.
The tourism sector could potentially face a decline in 70% of their business, threatening the livelihoods of over 70,000 workers, including these horse riding guides.
Every winter, there used to be 3 meters of snow over the entire landscape. Last year, I was able to earn 10 or 20 euros a day, but now we don't know how to deal with the situation. I have no other means to earn. I can barely provide food for my own family or my horses.
A few weeks later, Gulmarg finally received its first snow of the year. But the snowfall continued for days, leading to 2 massive avalanches, killing at least 1 tourist. Climate change is impacting the region in different ways. The Srinagar Meteorological Department recorded an 80% snow deficit in December compared with the previous year, with temperatures going 6 to 8 degrees above normal.
This phenomenon can be attributed to the El Niño effect. The abnormal high surface temperature in the Pacific Ocean triggers atmospheric disruptions, transforming snow-laden terrains into barren lands. As a consequence, water resources will keep on decreasing even faster.
The lack of snowfall is leading the Himalayas and its nearly 200 million inhabitants into an imminent drought crisis. Lake Wular, the second largest freshwater lake in Asia, has shrunk by half just in the past 30 years, directly impacting its marine life. Nasir says that day by day the water levels are receding and many of the species he used to fish have also disappeared. But there is no choice for Nasir and the 30,000 fishermen dependent on the lake for their source of income.
Once this lake was full of fish, but as its water started receding, so did our catches. We're forced to go deeper to make a living. Previously, a fisherman could catch 3 to 4 kilograms of fish daily. Now it's around 500 grams, or at best, 1 kilogram. We're all very worried. Our mental health is getting worse. We're poor, we don't have any land, and now we're in debt.
It's a race against time for communities struggling to survive despite all odds. Further up in the Himalayas lies the Zanskar Valley in remote Ladakh. Short winters mean no time for glaciers to replenish, the main source of water for the valley's over 14,000 inhabitants. Kumari village is one of the first victims of these drying glaciers. 3 months ago, Tenzin, along with her husband and 3 children, had to abandon their ancestral home and relocate downstream nearer to the river. 25 families like hers fled the village to escape the drought.
Our former home stood on top of that mountain. Around 20 people are still living there. We were living happily in our village. If only we had enough water there, we would have never left. It was our ancestors' land. Now we have no choice but to live in this new place that the government gave us.
In this cold and dry desert, the river Serab has become their only hope for their water needs, be it irrigating their farms or for domestic use.
The amount of water available changes every year. We went near the glacier to find a solution, but due to the lack of oxygen, we couldn't do anything. It's very difficult because we now have to install pipes to carry water from the river to our house. When it's too cold, the water freezes inside the pipes, and that's a real problem.
The villagers are afraid of another looming threat. Melting ice has led to the creation of over 5,000 glacial lakes. Due to global warming, the fragile walls of lakes could breach any time, causing massive flash floods and destruction. Scientists predict the melting of 80% of the Himalayan glaciers by the end of the century.
The texture of the ice is not the color you will see, it's more like a loose material. Otherwise, you have like really crystal blue. So what it does is like permafrost, when it's thawing, it releases the methane gas in the atmosphere. So it increases the surface temperature overall. Because of that, there's lot less cooling effect and temperature every year will increase more and more.
Many of the important rivers in the world are fed by glaciers, and their melting could force hundreds of millions of climate refugees to migrate in the coming decades.